that, you know, when I heard the president's proposal and I saw that there, you know, there were provisions for the LGBTQ community, I thought, wow, you know, things have really evolved, and you know how great that you know that there was, you know, that there were provisions. And I mean, so what do you think about that part of the
U.S. immigration system has actually recognized the relationship of same-sex partners who come from abroad. So, for example, in countries where, like Britain or in Holland, even Spain, where you know, same-sex partners are actually able to marry and have that legal relationship. If that person came to the U.S., you know, with certain types of business visas, for example, the U.S. immigration system will actually allow them to bring their same-sex partner on a temporary type of visa. So that it's interesting that we would recognize that right for individuals who are only coming here, you know, foreign individuals who are only coming here temporarily, but not for those individuals who live here and who are lawful permanent residents. So it's almost like we've said, okay, you know, we understand that in these countries that's the law, and we're willing to recognize that same-sex relationship and give it some deference, but we won't do the same with individuals who live in this country, who are lawful permanent residents, who are actually U.S. citizens. We won't even give them any type of recognition. So, you know, this is one of the discrepancies where the Senate provision that was introduced doesn't even address same-sex partners or couples. And the one that the president proposed actually does, and I think it's really a big point. I mean, the administration earlier, actually earlier this year or late last year, came out with a memo where they said, you know, for individuals who are actually in deportation, if we are considering, you know, prosecutorial discretion requests, which means we're going to consider the facts of your case, family ties were actually only limited to heterosexual, you know, marriages and relationships. The administration actually came out with a memo where they said actually you can now consider same-sex partners can be one of the factors that you can consider. So there's been some steps taken.
Challenge, right? Before you bring politics or religion into the whole question, it's really about the values of human dignity. You know, Eric will say, listen, we have basic needs for workers, living wage and certain conditions. How are we treating each other in regards to the relationships that you have and who you want to love and when you want to love? What are the basic rules of human dignity before you bring religion and politics and law into the question? Our country is ground zero for the struggle of trying to figure that out.
Absolutely.
Right? So all the senators and the congressmen and women who are trying to make these laws both in D.C. or in our state governments, they're people just like everyone else, right? But they're the ones that are responsible, that represent us, to come up with laws and policy that reflect our society. And what we're going through, this whole transition of, you know, who are we as Americans and who do we want to be? And this is a subtle message to the world. This is a very, very, very critical moment for us as to what we're telling the rest of the world as to who we want to be. And Felipe is right on, Eric is right on. It's a moral imperative. It says a lot about who we think we are in terms of how we want to talk about human dignity, basic things, equal opportunity, being exposed to the same rules, enforced in the same way, having the same access. Everyone, you know, when are we going to get to that point of this perfect union? That's what we're struggling with, and that's what this discussion is all about.
And being an African American